Hello YouTube and welcome back to Lamine's Legacy, episode number 10. The gameplay in the background is the Champs highlights from the previous weekend number 2. We finished this weekend, I believe it's considered rank 5, but it's an 11-4 finish, which I'm not happy with. But in the moment, it was fine. I essentially just got really, really triggered and just played terribly throughout the last couple of games. Really wasn't in the mood to play because I left all my games till Sunday, which compared to the first week, I'd already played 6 games before I started to play on Sunday. So having to play the all 15, I just really wasn't in the mood, but I knew I couldn't play them on Monday, and so they had to be done. I think that reflected in my gameplay, especially as I'd been online for maybe an hour and a half, getting up to 7-1, I think, and then from 7-1, downhill pretty bad and pretty fast. But yeah, 11-4, it's an okay finish in the sense that, it's not horrific, but it's probably like average. There's going to be thousands of players that get better than that every single week, and there's probably, just as many that don't quite get 11 every week. But I definitely want a minimum of 12. Definitely need to adjust the attitude and actually, keep composed when playing. I haven't really been enjoying the gameplay too much recently. I've had to play a fair bit of rivals in Division 2, and it just leaves a sour taste in your mouth. I don't want every video to be negative because I am very aware that tends to be the bulk of my commentary so far with FC26. And essentially just make a note of how the gameplay makes you feel quite negative. But yeah, having to play Division 2 rivals is just really unenjoyable because it's like 11 men behind the ball, hold the CDM, bring a striker towards centre back, and that's sort of how the game gets played. And it's silly of me to do it, but I took that attitude into Champs and really just didn't do myself any favours. But yeah, overall, give a bit of a team review. Same sort of team that we've been using for quite some time now. We're in a 4-2-3-1-2. We have, I think I used Ter Stegen this week in goals. He's rubbish. He's just useless. Ter Stegen in goals, do not use. Get any other keeper, and he'll do better. Right back, Llorente, brilliant card. Absolutely love Llorente at right back. Feel really, really lucky to have packed him. Centre backs, Koundé, and this week Araujo. Now, Koundé for me is just exceptional. He's so good. If I could have any centre back in the game out of the gold cards, it would be Koundé. So again, very, very blessed to have packed him. Really, really helpful, and definitely a must-buy card if you have the budget. But we had Araujo to partner him. I liked Araujo when I used him week 1. I think I bought him for like 20k or something at the time. I thought he was really good, and at least he was very good compared to what I had previously used. But playing with him this weekend and again in Rivals, I don't think he's special, and not that he should be for 8,000 coins or whatever his value is now. It may even be less. I'm not saying he should be special, but he doesn't feel amazing. He doesn't feel like Koundé does. He doesn't feel like Marquinhos does, which I have used. He's still much better than Konate. So, if you do want someone cheap who is respectable and reasonable, there's not a problem in using Araujo. But he's not, for me, as good as how he is or how some pros claim him to be. Obviously, they're much better players, but in my personal experience, Araujo, I don't feel lost with him out of the team. I feel lost without Koundé in the team. So, yeah, it goes to show the difference between the two types of cards. Left back, we use Mendy. I didn't want to purchase Balde, even though he's only like 15k now, maybe even less, because the market's been crashing again. But we didn't want to go and waste our coins on Balde. We chose to make some fodder investments again instead. So we kept Mendy. I really don't like him as a fullback this year. I just don't think he's the same card as we've had in past FIFAs. I find him to be such a weakness that I hate it when people attack down that side against me. I just feel like he's not strong enough, he's not quick enough, he doesn't tackle enough, there's no interceptions with him. And he doesn't offer nothing going forward either, which just leaves him as a bit of a waste of time and space, really. Although I had Balde at the start of the game, I much preferred when I had him, and I haven't had the ability to use Nuno Mendes yet. So Nuno Mendes would be a lovely card to get, but I'm not paying like 120 to 150k for a fullback when I can pay 12 to 15 for Balde. But yeah, that was the defense and the keeper. Then at DMs, same two DMs since the start of the game. I don't think I've played a Rivals or Champs game without these two as my DM partnership, and that is Patry in at right CDM. She is exceptional, but I think I am interested in testing out some other cards. So I want to use Pedri instead. So we're going to sell Patry and we're going to pick up Pedri. I'm not selling Patry because she doesn't perform. For me, it's a top centre mid. She's been exceptional, but I want to try something different. And I don't know if you do need the defensive, solidly defensive CDM in there. I think the pros are using always De Jong and Rangers, which offer some sort of defensive presence, but they're not really tacklers or ball winners. It's not like in the old metas where you'd have a Vera and Hullet, somebody who just wins the ball and somebody who takes space. That it doesn't seem to matter that much this year with defending just being so hard and it being so easy to just ping the ball to your cam. I think you can get away with more mobile and less defensively orientated CDMs, and that's why I want to try Pedri. From what I can tell, De Jong and Rangers are the best two gold centre mids in the game. I have used De Jong a little bit. I bought him at 200k, sold him the same night. Just wanted to test him out. And I used Rangers on loan in gauntlets and tournaments, and he is a good centre mid CDM. But I know that the pros have restrictions on the amount of high rated cards they can use, and I don't know if they choose Rangers and De Jong over someone like Pedri and Vitinha because they are better cards, or just because they want to save their 89 rated for other positions that they seem more impactful. So I don't truly know, but I'm gonna have an assessment of it for myself by picking up Pedri and seeing how he does. And then on the left hand side we have Cruz. I really don't mind Cruz. I think as the weeks go on, and it's not better cards are coming in the game, so it's not like he's getting worse compared to the other centre mids in the game. But he isn't an incredible centre mid. He's a good centre mid. He's not an incredible one. He has all the passing playstyles that you need. He has base intercept, which is amazing. But I don't find that his positioning nor his ability to cover ground allows him to make many interceptions. I don't think it's a super meta card. I think it's a good one to pull from pre-order, but I don't think it's probably not going to stay in my team much longer with this version of the card. It will probably come back into my team with the upgrade. I'm not sure exactly when it gets upgraded. I have a kind of suspicion that the upgraded card will perform worse just because at that point in the game they will be better centre mids. I'm not entirely convinced if that's true, it's just a theory. But it may be that because he gets maybe 2 pace, it's not really enough to keep up with whatever the power curve is at that time of the upgrade. But yeah, if you have Cruz, you also packed him in your pre-orders, and you've just not used him because you think, why would I use Toni Kroos? He's going to be exactly like he was when he wasn't an icon. I think you would surprise yourself, and I think because I've used a 4-5-1 a couple of weeks back. He's better in a 3 centre mid formation, but I'm not playing one of those at the moment. But yeah, overall, solid, decent card. Not a game breaker, but not terrible by any means. Then we have our attack. So I'm starting with the left mid because it is the weakest position in the team. We're using the Dolan, which you got from Early Access Finale or Early Access Qualifier Tournament. Either way, one of the very first tournaments a game offered. You won that, you got Dolan. It's just not a card that is good enough compared to the other players that you can get in that position. As a card, objectively speaking, it's not bad. It has, Tricks the Silver. I think it has Incisive. His stats aren't too bad. It's a reasonable, okay card. Great for tournaments and gauntlets or anything that requires squad restrictions. But when you are trying to, play for the win against other players that have, meta players and are good players, as we get absolutely battered 4-1 in the game on screen, you don't want Dolan. He doesn't offer enough. He's just not quite good enough. If you think about the cards on that side that you can use, you have, sort of more lower budget. You have someone like Barcola. Barcola's better. There's no doubt about it. Barcola's better. You have someone like in Serie A that is Zaccagni, which is quite quick. That's still a better card than Dolan. So, you have no reason to be using Dolan. As you go up the price range, and I'm so happy he didn't score that goal, by the way. Sorry for just cutting in there. But yeah, I don't think that Dolan is worth using because you can pick up Salma, you can pick up Swanson, you can pick up Nico. Like, I know they've a variety of budgets there, but there's just so many cards you can pick up for that position that will play incredible. Chawinga being another one, but you just don't get much value out of Dolan. So he's only here because I don't want to spend coins and I've made more fodder investments. But sooner or later he has to go because I really do feel like that whole side for me, Mendy and Dolan, is just a complete waste of time. Over on the right, we have the main man the series is about. We have Lamine Yamal. So obviously this card, or at least Lamine Yamal as a card, is one that we're going to be using all year round, all the way up to the end of the series, maybe even all year, depending on sort of how the series progresses. Obviously, the objective is to just outscore Ronaldo and out-assist Messi. But if we get there with reasonable amount of time left in the cycle, we might just continue to use the cards anyway. But his gold card for me is obviously the best right mid that I've used because I haven't really used other right mids. Only in things like Gauntlet where I've used Saka a fair bit. I've used the Kudus for the original Gauntlet reward. But yeah, I actually think he is exceptional. Now, if we start to get incredible left backs, I think they could be problematic, although they are much better left backs than right backs in the game, and he does handle the current ones fairly well, struggles the most against Nuno. But yeah, it's a great card if you use him in the right way, which is essentially dribble, not sprint. So if you're just going to run around and try and pace abuse, probably not going to like Yamal because he's not rapid. He's quick enough, but he's not rapid. But he is so good on the ball with his 90 dribbling. He can skip past people. So if you sort of let go of your triggers and you just wiggle a stick, you do some skill moves, a couple of cancels, you will beat your man. And it is nice to have that as an option because he has finesse base as well. If you are cutting in and you get that angle, you can just go far post, low driven finesse, and it's such a nice finish. And he makes that more often than not. But yeah, great card. Not going anywhere, and even if I had freedom of choice within the series, I don't think I'd be using a different right mid anyway. The only time I would do so would be if you're going all in on an investment, you need to be completely liquid, and then I'd probably go Rodman and Swanson for both right mid, left mid. But yeah, Yamal, great card. Saving up at the moment to make sure that when he gets upgrades and specials and promos, etc., that we can do his SBC or essentially purchase his card off the market. I hope he doesn't come out too expensive whenever he gets one, but yeah, we will be upgrading to his best version as soon as we can, selling everything that we need to in order to afford the card. As you can see, he does a nice bit of dribbling, and we get a really silly, stupid goal. Yeah, so we have the last two people in the team now. We have Messi and we have Pina. So we've been using Messi a lot. I placed the Cornerstones evolution on him. Whenever you unlock that, I think it was from also the first gauntlet, to give him or make it easier to get him 4K in a team that has nothing to do with the MLS or Argentinians, and he is so good. He's so clear of the Guler SBC, which we have done on this account. You may have saw in the last episode. If you haven't watched that episode, feel free to go do so. I do give my thoughts on Guler a fair bit, but just to summarize and recap, Guler's okay and he's good for second and third teams, so gauntlets and restriction based modes. But for your main team, when a card like Messi exists, I just don't see the point in someone like Goulet. Messi is exceptional. Second best player in the team probably, to be honest. Pina clears, Messi in second, Yamal in third. But yeah, Messi absolutely incredible. As he gets upgrades and evos, and that's just going to be such a good card this year. As long as the meta stays the way it is, he has everything you need at cam. He could do a ping pass, actually, I take that back. Ping pass would actually make this card perfect and probably close as possible to Bonmati, which is clearly the best cam in the game. But yeah, the way he dribbles, the way he can pass, the way he finishes, just everything about him is incredible. And if you are using a formation with a cam, then look no further than Messi, especially. I think he's like 8,000 coins right now. He's just around fodder price for his rating, so there's zero reason to not have him in your club. And then you can see we lost a game of champs with someone literally just running straight, and this is where my head was going. I just thought, I just want my rewards, man. I don't even want to play. Let's just get through them. It was a miserable time on stream, completely my fault. Yeah, not enjoyable. Not enjoyable content for anyone. It was completely miserable through no fault of anyone's but my own. But yeah, gameplay wasn't doing it for me, to be honest. Not something I was particularly enjoying. As you see, Messi and Pina collaborating to grab us a goal in the gameplay. And then finally, Pina, yeah, we said that we've been using her up front. I think we paid 18,000 coins when her price range got upped from 10. We've just been using her ever since. We've had plenty of opportunities to sell for like 100k at one point, 90k, 80k, 70k, etc. I think she's now like low 40s, maybe high 30s. And yeah, it is the best value card in the game. However you choose to incorporate her into your team. Personally, if you don't have, you're not using any Barca cards, I would say use the Cornerstones Evo. But if you do have or don't mind using Barca cards, definitely pick some up, because what a card! It is definitely the best value for coins in the game, even at 100k. Now it's down to like 40k. It's without a shadow of a doubt the best use of coins on the game. Her pace is like 78 on her card stats, but there's no way it's 78 pace, at least with her body type and the way she feels in game. It does feel like 85 pace minimum. I'm not going to say it's the fastest player in the game. It's obviously not, but they really do move in a way that like just does not resemble 78 pace. Then you have the shooting aspect. I can't remember what her face stats are for shooting, but you have a card that can do it all. So it has low driven plus, and I'm 99% sure it has finesse base, because if you take any of those shot options or you combine those shot types, you are giving yourself the best chance of scoring. The finishing is incredible on the card. Some of the best that I've used, maybe Gyökeres when I used his card, they have better finishing. I would say Gyökeres is a better finisher, but Pina in every other aspect of the game just clears so many cards. The pace you get, the dribbling that you get, the finishing that you get, and the passing, that's really what makes Pina unique in my honest opinion. You might have seen players like Gorilla use Verts, I believe he uses at striker sometimes. He plays like a false 9-4-4-2 situation. You kind of get that from Pina, and that's why Pina and Messi is so deadly together, is because you're playing with cards that have either gold or silver ticky, and the way that they can just pass the ball amongst themselves and like create these angles and chances is just, there's nothing like it. For like 50,000 coins, albeit they're too difficult to link cards, especially when you combine them. But for like 50k, you have such output. It's absolutely incredible. What a card. She's going nowhere anytime soon for me. I don't care about realising those extra coins. For me, I paid 18k. If I never sell the card, then I never sell the card. It doesn't bother to me. I don't care about those coins. Don't need those coins. Happy enough to just keep the card in my club. Although I really do anticipate EA refusing to make her eligible for any Evos as and when that time arrives. Obviously no time soon. She's 86 rated, and I think we're getting like 83 max at the moment. But yeah, incredible card. Pick her up if you can. So I think we're sort of getting close to the end of the gameplay highlights. I've talked a little bit about obviously the team, or mostly about the team. I talked a little bit about how miserable my experience was and how miserable I made the streams, etc. As you can see, we moved to 10 and 4 there after just quitting for not no reason, but just being so out of it and so ready to finish that we essentially sulk and leave the game. And we're into our final game against, as it's currently unveiling, we have Butragueno and Mbappe. So not what you want to see after you've essentially rage quit all of your losses and are just sitting there ready to give up. Not what you want to see at all. However, we start very strong. Now, this gameplay, this particular game of Champs was, without a shadow of a doubt, the most frustrating. It genuinely felt like you were playing against someone that relied or was able to rely solely on the fact that his team, or at least 1 to 2 players, was so much better than anything that you could put on the pitch that it was like cheating. It felt like it didn't matter what I did or how I did it. Mbappe and Butra, more specifically Mbappe, was just going to walk through my team, was just going to get every bounce, was just going to score every chance. And it just really, really felt like it was a waste of time as we scored a lovely goal there to make it 2-2. But we did come out with a win. As you know, I did spoil it earlier, we went 11-4, so we obviously don't lose this game. But yeah, this was a game that one of the most frustrating for me of the whole year. Just really, really didn't enjoy myself. And you can see it's not like we should be that mad. You know, we don't score that chip. I think it was the right decision, but maybe should have put more power on it. But you can see we're playing decent FIFA. I just think my head wasn't in there. There was way too much head loss. And yeah, 11-4 is how we finish. I don't know how long is left on the highlights before we move into the packs. But let me know how your champs went in the comments. Let me know if you had more wins in 11, less wins in 11. Let me know if you got the same amount of wins as the week before, more or less. You know, for me, if you haven't watched some of the other videos, from 14-1 to 11-4 is obviously a massive humbling. We are now obviously away, and I did cover this in the last video, that week 1 champs form was inaccurate. It was just essentially open matchmaking, which meant that you know, you just literally matched anyone that was playing. You know, it didn't matter if they were 1-10 or if they were 10-0 or 5-0, because it's only +5 form. You just played someone, you know, and that was it, which, you know, led a lot of people to have finishes that they otherwise wouldn't, myself included, certainly not hiding from that. 14-1 to 11-4 is a massive fall from grace, but as you can see or as you will see in the packs, the typical EA Sports fashion, my rewards for this week are a million times better than my rewards for last week. So I felt like 14-1 was a complete waste of time. You know, the 14-1 performance was, well, not necessarily difficult because of the matchmaking sort of mistake, but for me to achieve 14-1, I thought, well, you know, I hope to get good rewards here, because you would anticipate 14-1, you know, it's the second best rank in the whole game. You should be able to pick up some nice packs. You should be able to get some players that sell for a lot of coins. Of course, it's luck based, but complete waste of time last week. And then this week, I don't want to give any spoilers until we actually get into the packs, but we packed something incredible. It'll be in the title anyway of the coin value, so I guess I can say that in the commentary. We packed a card that was worth 300,000 coins, as well as a card that was worth 60,000 coins, taking our total to close to 400,000 coins all in, which, you know, a 400k week of any rewards, doesn't matter the game mode, is exceptional. And if you think about what the average player packs on a typical week where there's no good luck, like my week last week, you're picking up 20k in rivals, you're picking up 50k in champs, and it's like, you know, 70k across an average performance with no luck across 2 modes versus 400k for essentially sulking in one mode. Of course, I only got the 400k from luck. You know, you're not guaranteed 400k every week, but that amount of coins has put me, you know, weeks ahead of someone that's not able to get lucky, or, you know, it's finally caught me up to people that have already had luck. You know, luck, that's literally how luck works. But yeah, I'm really happy with what we received from champs this week, and hope that luck continues in future weeks as we put the nail in the coffin in the gameplay of the day. And yeah, let me know if you've had luck in any of your game modes, even if it's squad battles. You know, you can pack anything from anywhere, but let me know if you've had some good pack luck this year. Let me know if you're still hoping for something big. Me personally, I put 40,000 points on because I thought your amount would be a lot more. I thought I'd need to put FIFA points on in order to buy the card. Didn't anticipate the market going this way so soon. And I got nothing from it really. We packed a Vitinha and that was it. And then we've just packed who we've packed in an upcoming pack. But outside of that, we've made like no coins from packs. Our best pulls have been Llorente and Koundé, and they've both been untradeable. So yeah, good to finally get on the board, so to speak, with something that is worth a fortune. But yeah, so you can see we are using opening the max 87. We pick a pack an 83. I mean, that card, I don't even know if it'll ever get used in anything like this of zero value. And you can see based on the gameplay and based on the packs, my attitude towards it is terrible. So we get a centre-back Portuguese, and I'm just raging, I'm skipping through it. You know, I'm fed up and I'm sick of the game, and then that's what's waiting for me. It was a double, which I can't tell what's a double and what's not. So I have no idea, but waiting in behind was literally a Rafinha. So 300,000 coins we end up selling them for, and I do have that footage at the end of the video, which, you know, is an amazing pull, but I skipped it because I was too busy sulking, which, you know, that should be a lesson to me because the content sucks now from opening that pack perspective. We finished on the 385s, and I think in this one you can see how I realised I was an idiot in the Rafinha pack, and so we actually let the pack animation completely develop and play out. And you can see we have someone sneaking up for a double walkout, and it's Donnarumma. So I thought he was like a 100k card, but with the state of the market, it's sold for 60,000. So really happy with that. Really happy with that as a tradable pull. You know, we got quite lucky in that our two best players came from the tradable packs as opposed to the untradable, and we were able to sell them on as they're not cards I particularly plan on using. I have used Rafinha and I didn't enjoy him. But that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. So if you happen to enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.